it be this. I'm jumping out of your arms. I land and fall in the pit. Is this what they call the abyss? I fought and clawed for an inch, turning a miracle mile. I could recall when your lips used to contort into smiles.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Lakeview Zoo. Now in the opening segment there you saw the cinematics of the new red-crowned crow habitat that we are building in this episode. So I've never actually built an exhibit or habitat, whatever you'd like to call it, for this animal before, so it's very exciting for what we are going to be doing. That's sort of what the plan for this zoo and series is building habitats and exhibits for animals that I haven't actually used before or don't usually go for. So yeah, this is a first time build for the cranes in the game. They're sort of like flamingos, but they're not. So there's a little fun fact for you. But yeah, I wanted to, as you can see here, build a little bridge so you could walk straight over the habitat, but I wanted the path to be the same elevation as the main path in the game. So we just dug out a bit of a hole there in the ground that the cranes can actually walk down under the path, so you're able to see them actually quite close. They can walk under there. We do add a few different ponds there because they do like quite a bit of water, so we add a few of them in, and then we also do some decorative work, and also have to add a bunch of staff buildings because well, they need staff, but for some reason they say they're either inaccessible or not very, they don't use them. So I don't know if it's some sort of glitch or have changed the settings or something in the sandbox mode, but yeah, they don't use it, so I'm not sure if I'll just build more staff buildings or they'll just continue to use the same ones from the entrance part of the zoo where we've built like the original one. So I'm not really too sure on what's the go with that, but that's okay. Right here we are just adding a nice little decorative eye catcher, if you will. It's a nice little, I guess you call wagon wheel. It's not a Ferris wheel, it's a little, it's supposed to be for generating power with water, but I didn't really know what I was doing here, so I just built a little building around it and made it look very nice indeed. I haven't actually used it before, believe it or not, from this brilliant architectural piece right here, or used it before, so I wanted to use it because I haven't done cranes before either, so definitely wanted to try some new pieces for this habitat. Now the habitat is quite a bit smaller than like my usual pieces. They're usually quite big. It's still plenty big enough for this animal, but for what I usually build, it's quite smaller than usual, but they still love it. They still have plenty of space, so don't worry about their welfare or anything like that. They're very well looked after, okay? They do originally, the idea was for them to be able to walk under the bridge, which they can, and go up to the building on the right, just there, and we put bedding there, and the original idea was them to have that as a bedding or napping area as well as another place. But I thought to myself, there's a path, there's a cafeteria area right there, so it'd probably be a bit distracting and very close to the guests, so we end up making it so they can't walk past the I keep calling it Ferris wheel, the wagon wheel there. So yeah, we block it off a little bit with some rocks, with some a little bit of hills there, and so yeah, the original idea was for them to be able to go there, but they're not anymore. But it is still part of their habitat. They just can't access that point of the habitat. So yeah, we changed that a bit, but in the end it looks very nice, as you saw from the opening drone shots, which is very cool. I'm starting to get the hang a bit more at using the drone, so hopefully you guys are enjoying seeing those sorts of opening shots and cinematics and stuff like that. So if you are make sure to let me know down below so I'll keep doing it. Or if you'd rather see like a POV walkthrough of like a character rather than the drone, or both, whatever, one at the start, one at the end, who knows, just, yeah, let me know. So yeah, that original idea was to have some bedding there, and we still put the bedding there. It adds a little bit of character and breaks up the bit of, you know, wood there, and I think it works out quite well. They do like quite a lot of plants, but not a lot of coverage, so there's a bunch of, you know, little plants, as we do put in a few trees and bamboo and stuff like that, but yeah, most of the coverage is from the smaller plants, because they don't like a lot of shade and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to add another building here, one to cover up the staff buildings that they don't use, and two, just to give them a little bit more shade, a little bit more protection from the elements, seeing as they don't have as many big trees or as much shade as the others. So they can still go underneath the bridges and get some protection there, and you know, hide out under some trees and stuff like that, but it's just not as much as previous animals or exhibits. So yeah, it's a bit different to do it like this, but that's okay. I think it turns out quite nicely with the two buildings side by side. We also add some water there and do some bedding so they're able to get up and just chill there. We do add some glass walls to that building just there, so, you know, obviously they don't fly out onto the pathway. We change that path there to a guest suitable path, so the guests are able to walk up against the glass wall and, you know, check them out and do some information and stuff like that. So we change that later on, but for now we are just sort of decorating or trying to get rid of this big ugly area where it's, you know, the staff building. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure why the staff don't use it. Like there's vets there, there's everything, staff rooms there, there's everything there, but they just don't use it for some reason. So if you have played the game and have come across that and you did fix it, please let me know, because it is a little bit frustrating. It takes 4 years for the animals to arrive to the enclosures. But yeah, I think we you know, hide it quite well. Like I've said with everything looks good with the more detailing, the more stuff you add. So here I am is just adding a bunch of stuff to the building itself, just to make it look a little bit less of an eyesore. And then we add these wood pillars all the way along to sort of continue the flow of the gazebo that we've added. So we put them all the way down the side, so it sort of like wraps around the roof, and yeah, it makes it flow a little bit better. And then especially with the rocks, we do a lot of rock work because it's a bit of an odd shaped habitat. So yeah, we just do a bunch of rocks to make it less escapable, if you will, because these birds, I mean, they can fly as well, so that does make it a little bit tedious with how they can go. But yeah, we blocked it off a bit there with some rocks, and then we'll do a nice little garden bed there and make it look very nice. So if you're like just sitting there having your lunch or having like getting some information for like when you first walk into the park, you don't exactly know what to do, it's a nice little relaxing area there. Adding some rocks to the glass just to make it flow a little bit better between like nature, just to have a nice mix between the two. I'll try to cover up this concrete or cobblestone wall as best as I could, just because it does look a little bit ugly with having that much of a building, like just a square building there. So yeah, we changed that and put some rocks there and cover it up, and I think it looks quite nice indeed. We don't do too much with the actual fence itself. We just do the wood paneling there, add some rocks. We do change two parts of the actual paneling to glass, just so you can see the animals a bit better. That's probably not the best vantage point unless when they're using their enrichment items, but I had another plan for the other side of the path actually. So we're going to build in this episode, we'll start it anyway, somewhat of a little bit of a rainforest. Well, it's not really it's just a big forest really. And then I'll have a path that goes through it and a nice little some seating at the end of it just to look out over the rest of the park. And I was thinking we could like either make like a retaining wall at the end of it and drop down the terrain quite a bit, or do some rock work, something like that. But yeah, you'll sit there in the middle of the forest. We'll do some sound speakers to get some animal sounds going in there, so it's very nature based. You'll go there sort of like a little reflection area, if you will. So yeah, we do start that. I'm not sure if I'll finish it, but we'll start it, and you know, you'll be able to see like the basic way of the direction of the park and this area, because I want it to be very open, but I also want it to be eye-catchy as well. So that's probably why there's so many exhibits right off the bat, just to try and get some customers in, try and get their attention grabbed, and then once their attention is grabbed and they're, you know, staying for the day, which is probably what you would do if you go to a zoo, you'd stay for the day. But yeah, once they're stayed for quite a long time, we'll do the bigger, more attractive animals in the middle towards the back of the park, so they have to, like, you know, walk all the way through there and stay and then never leave. That's what we want at Lakeview Zoo. No one to leave. As you can see here, I'm starting my little, I guess you could call it a rainforest. Well, it's not really rainforest, it's just a dense forest really. It's nothing too special. We'll probably continue it a little bit more around to the left there, but we'll do a path through the middle, and yeah, like I said, drop down the terrain on the other end so you can look out over the rest of the exhibits, the habitats, the rest of the park, and I think that'll look quite nice. It does sort of fill in the gap a little bit here between, you know, exhibits. Not really too sure on the direction, so it's a good way to sort of just fill in the gaps a little bit and just go from there. So if you do have any suggestions, please let me know. But for now, that's sort of the plan, that's the idea, and I think it's looking quite nice. We'll probably need to change or add some more trees and, you know, heights and stuff like that to make it a little bit more natural, but I think it looks alright. We add a nice little fence, nothing fancy, but like I said, I do want fences around everything, so obviously makes it more realistic, just to keep out, you know, the little kids jumping in the bush and stuff like that. So we add that all the way along, and then we just do a little bit more on the habitat itself. Obviously got to clean up the long grass along the path, but it's coming along very nicely indeed. We'll probably extend the forest a little bit more to the left there, but we'll do that in another episode. But yeah, for now, it's going to be it for the red-crowned crane episode. That's a mouthful. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.